do a brief update, but go take it away.
Oh, thanks.
Real quick first, I'm sorry, Judge. Tim, will you throw that away? That goes out there.
It's for you.
Thank you. This is just informational. It doesn't require any council action yet. I want to bring you up to date. Met with the mayor and Jason, and we talked about it. Last year, the state legislature passed a law that mandated a change in the way you get counsel for an indigent defendant. And that change that they put in place is going to create a lot of man hours of work for both the police department and the court and defense attorneys, and obviously additional cost. We have been told time and again, they call this the Michigan Indigent Defense Counsel program. We've been told time and again that we do not incur any costs until they put the money for our budget in the city coffers. So here's what happens. And we're talking about a $400,000 request from us. That's why I want to bring this to council's attention. I didn't want to wait to find out 5 months from now, here's the kind of money coming in. When I met with the mayor and Jason, they both said, you need to come to council and talk to them. So when you come to court, if you've been arrested the first time you come to court, it's called the arraignment, or if you're in custody of the police department and we have an arraignment, we tell you what your rights are, what your charges are, and then we ask you to meet a court-appointed attorney. And then the next time you come to court, your court-appointed attorney is there. Which changes now, and it's a massive change in terms of manpower, is and this has been happening on a nationwide basis, and now the state of Michigan's adopted it. They're saying a person who is arrested needs and can't afford an attorney has the right to want to be interviewed and then represented at the arraignment. And at the arraignment's where we set bond, and sometimes people plead guilty. So that's why they're saying it's really important for them at the arraignment to have it. Well, what that means is, on a given Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday when we have a criminal docket, I have one attorney who's going to be representing indigent people there already, but now you've got 6, 7 people who are in custody, and they need to be represented, so you need another attorney to handle that and set up those first interviews. The police department has to hire PSOs too, so that they can make sure they have somebody moving the prisoners into a room that can be interviewed confidentially. I have to increase the number of attorney hours, so I have to put in for a court officer, and I also have to put into a clerk who can arrange all and handle all the paperwork and have the grant work. Again, we're being told nothing happens until you get the money from the state. We have submitted our grant today. The grant went in the grant request. It's about $400,000 to cover all these additional costs. And our biggest concern, and when I'm talking to other courts, I'm hearing they're asking for $400,000 or $500,000 too. We did a pilot program to try and determine what our costs would be. I didn't want to just guess. And the chief was helpful in that. The police department worked along with that. We actually spent a whole week with bringing the prisoners over to the court like we used to do, and that wasn't working. That was just unsafe. So then we spent 4 days doing things with using technology. The attorneys are at the court, they're talking over the jail through the Polycom system, and that way we were able to get a good handle on what we think the hours would be and how much manpower we need. The problem in all this is the budget's been submitted for $400,000. I don't think we've padded the budget. Chief, you saw it. We cut it pretty close. It's not like I said, okay, give me $400,000, but if you give me $300,000, I'm cool. That's not it at all. The biggest fear I have is that the state will come back and say, well, you only get 200 or 225. At that point in time, we're going to have a problem on our hands. But I don't know what they're going to do. This is all brand new. Every court in the state is submitting budgets. And so we put ours in. We've worked very closely with the regional director for this region. She's been to our court during the pilot program. She's helped us out getting the budget together, telling us what more information she needed. So we put that all together. It's there. I'm hoping to come to you in 6 months and say, we got all our money. We're putting this, when you see, hey, who's hiring all these people, it's paid for. Again, we're told, we don't hire a person, we don't do a thing until the money's in our bank account. That's what we're going with. Wanted to give you that heads up in case you start hearing about $400,000 here or there. If there comes a point in time where us and 3 or 4 other courts are being told, you're going to have to do this with only 2/3 of the money you requested, then we'll come here and have this discussion about what we do from there. Because I can't do it with that, then do we litigate what we do with it. That's a discussion, that's borrowing trouble. Let's wait until we see what happens. Yes, sir.
This question, this is basically then going to be mandated by the state. This was set up by the state.
It was. Hence, the unit has to be paid for.
So they never,
Yes.
did they ever come to the courts and get any input from the courts on what it might cost them for court.
They did a couple of pilot programs, but I am greatly concerned that, and in fact, one of the attorneys who did a pilot program up in Kent County is now handling part of this program up in Kent County, but I'm greatly concerned that they underestimate the amount of work it takes for a police department and also for attorneys. I mean, even though, I think, so this is legal talk, oh, it's just an arraignment, all you gotta do is go in and plead him not guilty and say, hey, he works, can I get a bond? Not really. You have to represent a person. You're their attorney, and they're entitled to a little bit more than that. It takes time, and that's what our pilot program showed. It takes time. So I'm thinking, and a lot of us think the state's going to be very surprised when they see the amount of money being requested. Again, I think we put in a very honest budget. We didn't try and milk this at all, and I'm hoping it all works out well. We'll find out.
As far as the sustainability, so future grants, this is for a year,
Yes, so it would happen every year.
So you would reapply every year for the sustainable
Yes,
program? Okay.
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Wanted to give you notice in case you hear about $500,000 somewhere. Always don't hesitate to call and go.
Any other questions?
Any other
I
questions?
just got one more. If you think that the state's not gonna give us, why didn't you pat it?
Come on, Judge. Let's be honest with you. We got it. All right. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, take care. Thanks. All right, we're gonna go into, actually, before I go, does Mayor, do you have anything?
No, Mr. Chairman, the only thing in your communication is just the reappointment of Sheila to the General Employees Retirement Board. That's the only mayor's communication. Oh, and then the proclamation. Okay. Thank you.
Sounds good, thank you. We'll go on to, item,
Oh,
oh,
I got that.
excuse
There
me,
is one
Mr.
more.
Chair. Yes.
Did you bring that check from Camp Canine for the splash pad thing?
Well, we can cover that after we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure,
okay.
sure. Okay. Okay, so we'll go to item 6, which is a motion to approve Synergy Wireless Products, low bidder to outfit 3 Ford Interceptor Utility Vehicles for an amount not to exceed $10,100, funded through Federal Forfeiture. Chief, what? Anybody have questions for me? It's pretty straightforward. Item 7, the motion to receive and file the results of the seized weapons auction. Any questions?
I have one quick question. How do you, I see Cabela's, were they the only ones that did, or Top Gun also was interested?
Yeah, Top Gun refused to bid.
Do you have to be a licensed dealer to bid on that?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
We've had Cabela's, Gator Mountain's been involved as well.
Okay, yeah.
I remember the old days when we used to have to turn those into the state, right? And then finally they got smart, instead of destroying the weapons, now they started doing it. Just the thing, it was very interesting to me to see, now, this is a list of the weapons that pretty much Cabela's bid on and got.
Correct, it's a lot of time.
Yeah, and what interests me, maybe it's because I'm into guns and stuff, is to see some of these weapons, and I'm sure you've seen that the cost of some of these weapons, to buy these weapons today, you can imagine what this 100 and some weapons would cost, so they get a great deal. And it's unfortunate there's not other ways to make our money back, because I'm pretty sure you're seeing that the cost of one of these weapons alone is close to $1,000 for one weapon. So it's just kind of interesting to me to see what a deal. I should open a business and start doing it.
If I can touch on that for 1 second. One of the things that we did before was try and invite a lot of the local bidders, whether it was a firing line, Top Gun, a lot of them, and they just weren't even in the ballpark of what Gator Mountain and Cabela's were. And even Gator Mountain was low, they only won one of the bids. And the people from Cabela's actually said, when we bid on these, even if you just break even, we are going to make money because you're going to come into our store and you're going to buy a gun case, you're going to buy ammo, and you're going to bring in people to buy other things with that. So even if it's just a break even, and a lot of those smaller vendors, they just couldn't keep up with the bids. So after the first couple times, they don't even come out anymore.
Well, I think that's the good thing, is selling it as a lot, otherwise that way people can come in and cherry pick,
Yeah.
I tried to get to where council could go in and look and see if they were interested.
Oh, there we go.
You also look at it,
But that was frowned upon, so.
Councilman Raven says, well, these were weapons, and being a gun person, it would break your heart to see some of these antique weapons that have been melted down. And these have a lot of sentimental value to people. And it's nice to see that they go through a dealer, it gets off of our hands, it's not on our name anymore, and it goes to somebody who's going to be responsible.
The other question real quick is, do we we have the ability on the recovery of some of those weapons if any of them are possibly used for the department? Can the department hold those weapons and keep them?
We do have a number of those weapons still in,
Oh,
as we had in
okay.
the past, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.